Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
A legal appointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
Tiffany Henyard's fall from grace has been nothing short of a spectacular collapse, and things have only gotten worse with her latest defeat in court. Once hailed as a powerhouse in Dolton and Thornton Township, Henyard now finds herself at the center of scandal after scandal, each one digging a deeper hole that's getting almost impossible for her to climb out of. And the craziest part, this downfall didn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of mismanagement, unchecked power, and a string of bad decisions that have finally caught up to her.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, just some accountability.
Let's break it all down, starting with the latest court case that's rocked her already shaky political career. This one's a big one, a $3 million lawsuit involving Gerald Jones, a former employee of Thornton Township, who has accused Henyard and her cronies of serious misconduct. We're talking workplace intimidation, harassment, and retaliation. And here's where it gets even juicier. Jones wasn't just some disgruntled employee. He's actually the son of Township trustee Jerry Jones, meaning this lawsuit has not just legal but deep political implications. It's like Henyard has made enemies everywhere, even among people who were once close to her.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking.
So what's this case about? Well, Gerald Jones worked for Thornton Township for about a decade, but things went south when he reported a mice infestation at the Food Assistance Program to OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. After reporting this health hazard, Jones claims he was harassed by Keith Price, the Food Assistance Program manager who had been handpicked by Henyard herself. Price's retaliation didn't stop at verbal abuse. He allegedly threatened Jones physically, saying they should take it outside now. That's the kind of behavior you might expect in a bar fight, not in a workplace where public servants are supposed to be helping vulnerable people. But that's the tone that Price and by extension Henyard allowed to fester in the township.
Terminate his employment. I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate, right?
But it doesn't end there. The lawsuit digs even deeper into what's being called a toxic work environment under Henyard's leadership. It's not just about one incident or one disgruntled employee. The complaint suggests that anyone who dared to challenge the status quo, speak out against the conditions, or report anything unethical was met with swit and brutal retaliation. And we're not just talking about people getting dirty looks in the hallway. Employees like Jones were denied overtime, screamed at in front of others, and in some cases, threatened with violence. There's even a story about someone writing on a chalkboard in the food pantry, "When I leave here, everyone will be gone." That's not just unprofessional, that's terrifying.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
The fact that this lawsuit is now making its way through the courts is a massive blow to Henyard. But it's not just about the legal ramifications. What's really striking is how this case exposes the level of dysfunction and chaos that seems to follow her wherever she goes. And it's all happening in public view with court documents, media reports, and public testimonies laying it all out for everyone to see.
Wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions.
Now, here's where things get even more interesting. The court recently granted Thornton Township an extension to respond to the lawsuit, pushing back the deadline to October 31st. But don't let that fool you. This isn't a victory for Henyard, it's a delay. And in the world of politics, a delay is just postponing the inevitable. There's no real defense being mounted, no legal strategy in play. In fact, there wasn't even a lawyer present to represent the township in court. Let that sink in for a minute. A multi-million lawsuit, and the township can't even be bothered to show up with legal representation. If that doesn't scream incompetence, what does?
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
Henyard, of course, is trying to deflect blame. She's been on the defensive, saying things like, "I am Thornton Township. I'm the head. So with that being said, I will be represented." She's positioning herself as the victim of attacks against her leadership. But honestly, that's just not flying with anyone at this point. People are fed up. The public isn't buying her excuses, and her once loyal allies are starting to turn on her.
For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard, but we only knew half the story.
It's no surprise that the tide is turning against her. We've seen this pattern play out before, but what makes this even more damning is how openly Henyard seems to be losing control. Remember that incident where she was caught arguing with her own attorney on camera? It wasn't just a small disagreement, it was a full-blown public spat. And it made her look completely unhinged. As one viewer put it in the comments, with the way she acts openly in public, knowing cameras are rolling, even arguing with her own attorney. "I shudder to think how much worse she is in private." That's a pretty telling comment. If she's willing to act that recklessly in front of the world, who knows what's happening behind closed doors?
I think you should pay everybody. Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just got it.
And then there's the matter of her handpicked team. Like Keith Price Henyard has surrounded herself with people who seem just as toxic as she is. Price, as the food, assistance program manager, wasn't just running the operation, he was, by all accounts, terrorizing the people working under him. Jones's lawsuit paints a vivid picture of an abusive work environment where employees were not only harassed but threatened. It's no wonder things are starting to unravel.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
But it's not just about the $3 million lawsuit. This is part of a much larger problem that's been brewing for a while. Henyard's leadership has been characterized by scandal after scandal, from accusations of excessive spending to her ongoing battles with the Dolton Village Board lynching boards, which has been under investigation for misuse of taxpayer funds. The party featured high-paid performers, bounce houses, and all the bells and whistles, but it was solved. Former trustee Valeria Stubbs called it a waste of taxpayer money, and honestly, that's just one of the many examples of Henyard's reckless spending.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
Residents are getting angrier by the day, and they've been showing up in force at public meetings to demand her resignation. At one meeting, things got so heated that a resident flat out said, "I'm not going to stop until she's behind bars." The frustration is palpable. People feel like they've been lied to, misled, and betrayed by someone who was supposed to be serving their interests. But instead of fixing the problems, Henyard seems more interested in protecting her own power.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993.
Let's also talk about how Henyard is handling, or rather, not handling the fallout from all these scandals. Instead of taking responsibility, she's doubling down, refusing to step aside or admit any wrongdoing. That's not a good look for someone who's facing multiple legal battles and public outcry. She's even gone so far as to hold her own meetings when the Dolton Village Board has postponed them, trying to push through her agenda without a quorum. It's like she's operating in her own little bubble, completely out of touch with reality.
But the administration can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily...
The truth is, Henyard's downfall is about more than just one lawsuit or one party. It's about a pattern of behavior that shows she's completely lost her grip on power. From her mishandling of township funds to the way she's allowed people like Keith Price to run rampant, it's clear that her leadership is in complete disarray. And it's not just the court cases piling up, it's the public perception that she's no longer fit to lead. The people of Dolton and Thornton Township deserve better, and they know it. One viewer couldn't have said it better: "I can't wait for her arrest." Dolton needs better. That sentiment is echoed by more and more residents who are tired of watching their town be dragged through the mud by someone who's supposed to be their leader. Henyard may have thought she could continue ruling unchecked, but the tide is turning, and it's turning fast.
Mayor Henyard is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack.
As we watch this all unfold, it's hard not to wonder what's next for Henyard. The legal system is catching up with her, and it's only a matter of time before more lawsuits and investigations come to light. The FBI is already looking into her spending practices, and there's a federal investigation looming over her head. It's safe to say that this $3 million lawsuit is just the tip of the iceberg. Her political career is on life support, and it's looking more and more like this court loss is going to be the final nail in the coffin. But Henyard's refusal to step down isn't just about clinging to power, it's about protecting herself from the inevitable fallout. Once she's out of office, she loses the shield of her position, and the legal ramifications could hit her even harder. That's why she's fighting tooth and nail to stay in control, even as everything crumbles around her. And let's not forget the role of the media in all of this. Henyard has been the subject of countless news reports, and the more that comes out, the worse she looks. From WGN to local outlets, everyone is covering her missteps, and it's only adding fuel to the fire. The court of public opinion has already made up its mind, and Henyard is on the losing side. As we close in on what's shaping up to be the end of Tiffany Henyard's political career, it's important to remember that this isn't just about one person. It's about a system that allowed someone like Henyard to rise to power and stay there despite all the red flags. It's about the people who enabled her, the allies who looked the other way, and the culture of corruption that let her run wild for so long. And now that the house of cards is finally falling, we're seeing just how deep the rot goes.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
So what's next? Will Henyard finally step down, or will she continue to fight a losing battle? And what does this mean for Dolton and Thornton Township moving forward? As one viewer aptly put it, Dolton needs better well. Now it's up to the people to decide what that better looks like. This saga isn't over yet, and there's bound to be more twists and turns as we get closer to the final showdown. But one thing is clear, Tiffany Henyard's reign is coming to an end, and when it does, it's going to be spectacular. What do you think? Is this the end of Henyard's political career, or will she somehow find a way to claw her way back? Let us know in the comments. See you next time.